So, one of my favorite things in life is learning about tea and spreading it to people I know. So, I decided to kind of do that just on the internet. I'll be reading some Reddit stories while starting a new Minecraft world. So, let's get into this. So, right from r/relationships, I'm at an impasse and not sure what to do. Hi, looking for an unbiased opinion and advice. My husband and I, male and female, early 40s, are in a disagreement and I'm not sure who's being unreasonable. So, some backstory: my mother is turning 70 in 2 weeks. We have planned a huge party for her, friends and family flying all across North America to come celebrate with us. This event has been in the works since last fall, and we're all very excited for it. So, a couple weeks ago, my husband tells me that we need to leave my mom's party to attend another party that night for a little bit, a party for his friend who was turning 60. I asked who the friend was. He mentions a name that I'm not familiar with. Turns out I had met this individual and his wife once prior. I told him I don't really know them and I do not want to leave my mom's party with all of her friends for this other party. He says that he's already informed the man that will be attending, and I responded that I didn't like that he agreed to this without speaking to me first. We both were pretty heated, so I ended the conversation there before it got worse. So far, this is ridiculous. Like, 2 weeks or a few weeks, sorry, before your mother's big day, and he's like, let's go to this other party. Insane, insane. But let's finish the story. Let's finish the story. Fast forward to this week, it dawns on me that we never finished our discussion, and knowing my husband, I'm positive that he believes that I'm still going to leave my mom's party to attend this other one. So this evening, I tell him that I don't want to fight over this, but I cannot leave my mom's party. If it were any other night or evening, I would definitely make time, but it's the only because it's on the same night as her 70th, I just can't. All of the family that we have coming in for it, I just can't leave. We rented a venue. There will be 150 people, including some of his own family. I told him that he can go with his friends without me. I'm not angry about it. I just can't attend with him. Of course, he's upset and starts raising his voice. I told him that I wish his response instead was that he understands, and that's that. But he's turning this around, saying that he wishes I would understand and would attend this other party with him. I've tried to keep calm, but as he was starting to yell, I asked, why does he need to yell? I just wanted to discuss this without fighting, and he says, because I'm not giving him a reason why I can't leave, question mark. But I did, didn't I? My feelings valid, or is this something that I really need to compromise on and just leave my mom's and go to this other party with him? He claims this man is a really good friend. However, in our 11 years together, I met him once and he's never been a name in my husband's ever mentioned when he hangs out with the other guys. My husband's a social butterfly, though I did notice he does refer to a lot of people as just good friends. Is this a hill worth dying on? TLDR, my husband wants to leave my mother's big 70th birthday bash to attend another party of his friends that I don't even know. Should I stand for him or give in? And there are some edits at the bottom that I will read. He is a social butterfly and likes to ensure that he's keeping good relationships / rapport with his friends, acquaintances, and business contacts. This isn't the first time that he's thrown a wrench into our plans when he's agreed to other events when we already had plans on the go. So we would have then to leave the original event part ways and also attend whatever he's made arrangements on. I didn't mind it then. They weren't super important events, but leaving my mother's party is a hard no for me. I'm going to stand firm now that I'm seeing all the responses that I shouldn't give in on this one. So, without even reading these comments, it just sounds like this husband is almost, I don't want to say making up an excuse to not go to leverage control, but it sounds like these outside events and he are happening and he's trying to leverage as much control from his wife as much as possible, and that's just obviously not okay, right? Like, why on earth are you being so unreasonable to your mother-in-law's 70th birthday? Like, why would you not want to go to that in the first place? I feel like if this is such a close friend, they should understand, hey, it's basically my mom's birthday. happy birthday as well, you know, and all that sort of stuff. So I have no idea why this guy is just being such an idiot about this. But let's read some of this comments. And then top comment: if this is real, your husband is showing that he's not bright or empathetic. He can go to the event as long as he wants. You have long planned party plans as well, which is true, right? This has been in the works since last fall, and it's basically summer, right? So they've been working on this since fall, winter, and spring. That's like at least 6 months. So they've been planning this, and 150 people are going, including his family, his own family. So, being in his situation, imagine your your family is at, like, your sister is at your mother-in-law's party, and she's like, "Where's my brother?" You know, or your actual mother is like, "Where's my son?" Oh, they're at another person's birthday party? That's ridiculous. So it's just, it sounds like he's just trying to leverage as much control over her as possible. Um, Next comment: because it's not even about the party, it's about bending her to his will with several dozen upvotes. I agree with them. It doesn't really seem like the husband is remotely interested in hearing her out, because th- this is just such a nothing burger. Why are we yelling? And he claims that she's not giving him a reason, even though the reason is, it is my mother's birthday party. I'm not gonna go to some person I don't know's also another birthday party, right? That just doesn't make sense. And she even asks, "Are my feelings valid?" Of course they are. This is ridiculous. And you even said, "Hey, you can go to your friend's birthday party as well." So I also don't see how this is an issue. It just seems like such a big control thing to me. Like, you're given this compromise of, you can go, I'm gonna stay here with my mom, right? And you're just kind of throwing that in her face and being like, "Nope, I said we're both going, so we both got to go, and you're being unreasonable because you don't want to come to my friend's party that I've mentioned once ever." You know what I mean? It's just all sorts of ridiculous. Um, Looking at some of these other comments, seems that the general consensus is that he's just being controlling. Okay, this person looks like they'd have a very thoughtful response. Your husband is being very selfish. I hope you can share this post with him. Apparently, to him, this random good friend is more important than all the work that his wife has put into towards making her mother's 70th birthday special, and that matters more than his family and yours that are coming to this celebration. That he agreed to leave this party is a horrible enough thing, but the fact that he is still fighting with you about it makes him thoughtless and inconsiderate. If he leaves to go to that party and someone asks where he is, do not lie for him. He left his family to go to his friend's birthday party. I'm pretty sure both sides of the family will see him in a different light, because his decision and the fact that he keeps yelling at you to leave from your own celebration with your mother to cater to someone that you barely know makes him look like a jerk. What a well rounded person this commenter is. Thank you, Redditor. Thank you, kind stranger, for putting into words that I am not good at putting into words. Yeah, 100%. This guy is a big loser, a big loser. So on to our next story, also from r/relationships. So it's slightly longer by quite a bit, actually. So not slightly longer, quite a bit longer. Looking for advice from gamers. How do you balance gaming with a serious relationship? 24 female, 23 M. I I don't like to judge based off the title, because about 95% of the time they're very clickbaity. "Oh, look at my posts, guys." And it's just completely unreasonable from the poster standpoint a lot of the time, and whatever, right? So just based off that, I have no idea where this is going to go. So I'm hook, line, and sinker. I'm fully invested. I'm fully invested. So, my boyfriend 23M and I 24F have been together for about 2.5 years and recently moved to London together. Holy voice crack. Before anyone jumps to conclusions, I'm not here to bash him. He's genuinely a good person. He treats me well, has a stable job, and gaming has always been one of his hobbies. I'm just trying to I'm just struggling to figure out whether my concerns are reasonable or whether I'm overreacting because I'm not a gamer myself. When we first got together at university, we spent a lot of time together. As a relationship progressed, a pattern started developing where he'd come over to my place, then leave to go home and game for a few hours before coming back to sleep. At the time, I didn't think much of it. Now that we live together, I'm noticing it more. He works remotely most of the time, and gaming is a huge part of his daily routine. A typical day looks something like wake up shortly before work, watch gaming related YouTube videos, work also while also gaming throughout the day, eat dinner, go back to gaming until around 11 p.m., bed, repeat. Weekends are a bit better because we usually go out and do things together, but as soon as we get home, it's generally straight back onto the PC. The thing is, he hasn't isn't someone who has no other hobbies. He plays guitar and is generally very talented. We actually met through a film society at university because we both loved movies. He used to spend more time on those interests, but lately gaming seems to have taken over almost everything else. Part of what's making me question things is that he recently took an entire week of annual leave specifically to play a new Destiny update when it launched. I found found that a little strange, but I figured everyone spends their holiday differently. The problem is that weeks later, he's still playing it constantly. He's also been saying things recently that worry me. He's unhappy at work. He's been talking to more and more about this wanting to quit. Sometimes he'll joke, although it doesn't entirely feel like a joke, that he wishes he could just quit his job and game all day. I don't know whether that's just someone venting about work or whether it's really a sign that gaming has become a bit more of an escape. Other thing is, he doesn't really have a social circle in London yet. We moved here recently. I've been making a big effort to meet people and build friendships. Most of the social activities we do are through people I've met. His main connection to his friends is through gaming with other people online. Because of that, I feel very guilty criticizing it because I know it's serving as a social outlet. At the same time, I'm someone whose primary love language is quality time. I generally enjoy just existing together, whether that's watching a film, going for a walk, cooking together, or even playing a game together. I've suggested watching shows or movies recently, and he's usually not interested. That's hard for me because were something we originally bonded over. I would honestly rather be open to gaming with him too. If there was one game that we could play together, I'd happily give it a go and even buy whatever equipment I need. But he doesn't really seem to be interested in me, including me in that part of his life. It feels more like he wants gaming to be his own separate thing. He often describes it as his me time. Halfway through this, it's it's so hard when I feel like this is low key me, not OP, but the person, right? Like after work, and I'm coming home from the gym. I'm going right to play video games, right? Whether it's by myself, with friends, or whatever, right? And then whatever time rolls around, and I'm like, oh, it's bedtime. It's bedtime. So and I feel like what's really getting me is that he's not willing to include his girlfriend in this. I do think that's slightly extreme here, but let's just keep reading. The problem is that it feels almost all of his free time is me time, whether I'm craving more us time. We also have been arguing about gaming more recently. One of the things he often says is just that I just don't get it because I'm not a gamer. Maybe that's true, which is part of why I'm posting here. One argument that has really stuck with me happened recently, or argument. I had I had a work event that turned into one of the worst days I've had in a long time. There was a heat wave. I barely managed to eat or drink all day. I felt physically awful, and I had a really unpleasant experience with some of the people there. He knew all of this. He was meeting me afterwards to bring me a bag I needed for a work trip because I couldn't take it with me earlier. I arrived about 5 minutes late because of transportation issues, which I apologize for. He handed me the bag and immediately told me that he had to rush off because he had a Destiny raid starting that he needed to get home to. What upset me was that he didn't. What upset me was that He had plans. It was that he didn't really ask how I was, let me vent, comfort me, give me a hug, or even spend a few minutes checking in with me, even though he had known I had a terrible day. Later, when we argued about it, I said that from my perspective, it wasn't the same as keeping people waiting at a restaurant reservation or missing a train. Surely, if your partner has had an awful day, a game can wait 5 minutes. His response was that gaming commitments are still commitments, and that I don't understand because I'm not a gamer. Back to that because you're not a gamer thing. And that's where I genuinely do not know if I'm being unfair. I understand not wanting to let your friends down, but I can also can't shake the feeling that in that moment, the game seemed more important than I was. There was also practical issues. I do the majority of the housework. He'll help if I specifically ask, but I often feel like I'm responsible for noticing what needs doing, planning, and then delegating it. I'd rather have a partner who takes initiative without being asked. I also find it frustrating that he's gaming. He's often completely unavailable for hours at a time. He plays Destiny raids that can apparently last several hours, and during those periods, he basically can't be interrupted. For example, I'm currently away on a work trip. Earlier tonight, I tried calling him a few times because I needed to ask him something. He did not answer. He said he'd call me back, and then didn't call for over an hour because he was gaming. That kind of thing happens fairly regularly, and I think that's where some of the bigger fears start creeping in. We're serious about each other. We talk about marriage and having children one day. I'm worried that he's already such a big part of his. This is such a big part of his life now. What does that look like in 5 or 10 years? Will I be the parent making memories with the kids while he's locked in another room gaming? Would he be able to step away if there was an emergency? I'm unfairly catastrophizing. There's no way that's a word. Um, or maybe it is, and my vocabulary is just really bad. Or are these reasonable concerns to have before getting married and starting a family? For context, I know some people might say I need more hobbies of my own, but that's something my boyfriend says too. I do have hobbies. I go to the gym. I enjoy films, play guitar and piano occasionally. I like to go for walks, spend time trying to build friendships. I probably don't pursue any one hobby as intensely as he pursues gaming, but I don't feel like I'm sitting around waiting for him to entertain me. So, for my question is, from the perspective of gamers and non-gamers alike, does this sound like a normal hobby that I'm struggling to understand, or does this sound excessive? Should I be worried? How would you approach a conversation about this without sounding like a controlling or anti-gaming? TLDR, my boyfriend spends most of his free time gaming. Recently took annual leave to play Destiny, often becomes unavailable for hours at a time. I hate when TLDRs aren't actually TLDRs. Like, I feel like this TLDR is a quarter of the length of the actual post. But I think OP has extremely reasonable feelings, right? It From her perspective, it's very much like, "Hey, I want to do things, boyfriend. Let's go do these things." And he's like, "I'm busy gaming with the boys," which it's fine. I think it's completely fine to have alone time, right? And I think it's actually quite healthy to have alone time. And if you're spending every lasting second with your significant other, it can definitely tire both of you guys out very, very quickly. But I think we are definitely reaching the point where it's scarily unhealthy. This basically, the way that she's describing it, of my schedule of wake up, play games, or while doing work, eat dinner, play more games, and go to bed, is just insane. And every single day, like, I know people who play Destiny, and it's very easy to sink hundreds of hours into. I never really got into it, but it's it's from a perspective of a gamer. According, oh geez, I sound like a, oh no, I'm a redditor. I've sunken this low to be a redditor, but it it sounds like it's this. I feel like there's definitely a lot more deeper issues that he has going on rather than just I'm using gaming as an outlet, because they moved to an entirely new city from, I don't know how far that is, but assuming the fact that she has to kind of make new friends, I assume they moved quite a significant distance, right? um and she's out here trying to make new friends, so both of them are very unfamiliar with the area, and he's coping with that by playing games rather than expressing those worries to her or doing stuff with her, if that sort of makes sense. And I think that's the main thing here. Like these you I hate jumping to the just break up with him, because if they, according to her, we are serious about each other, we talk about marriage and having children one day. If we are leaning into that and saying, yeah, we actually might get married, there's definitely a lot of problems that need to be ironed out and more communication. Because it when he resorts to the, oh, commitments are still commitments. Yeah, I agree, but when you know that your significant other has had probably one of the worst days of their life, and you're just like, I have to do Destiny raid. I've never played Destiny, so I have no idea how accurate that is. I'm sure the people in the comments will say something, but it's getting to the point where she's vocal about her issues, but he's not vocal with his issues, and I think that's where the majority of these issues are starting, if that makes sense. What a fence sitter opinion there. Let's let's go right into the comments. Top comment from 3 hours ago. Wow. Wait, how old is this post? This post is 3 hours old, fresh off the press. Okay, I didn't realize that. So, top comment. First, your feelings are valid. I also like to help you reframe some of the gaming terms. Destiny Raid isn't him playing a game, it is him hanging out with his friends doing an activity. The activity happens to be a raid in Destiny. Could be golfing, could be going to the pub, whatever. But it's a social commitment he's made and it happens to be in a game. Destin also has recently announced they're basically shutting down using the same concept as before. It's like someone's regular that just announced it's shutting down in a few weeks, but they're having one massive hurrah before they go. And if someone found a big group of friends through the regular, and where they probably have everything out, and well, yeah, that's the update. That said, I'm explaining those in terms so you can approach the conversation in a constructive way, because it's not specifically about gaming. Imagine he was leaving to play golf with his friends in those same time frames, and how would you feel about that? Then saying he wishes he could quit his job to play golf all day. It's still a problem, but the problem isn't the activity itself, it's his ability to healthily fit the activity into your combined lives. Also, I say that because gaming gets vilified in a way that many of these other activities do not. Golfing is a hobby that is better than gaming, yet girlfriends everywhere are frustrated with the amount of time their partner spends on it, but they focus their concerns on the time and obsession, not the activity itself. Anyways, your main request was perspective from a gamer, and I'm not offering a solution but validating your concerns, hopefully reframing the issue so you can have a healthy conversation. Wow, what a very long comment, and very, very well said by this Redditor, who I will upvote their comment. I did quite like that. And I feel like they, they kind of said what I was trying to say, right? And I guess I also did miss the point where he's like, I wish I could quit my job and play games all day. Do not, do not let them become a YouTuber or a streamer before quitting their job. I have listened to and read so many stories about people, especially hiding the fact that they quit their job to do specifically, usually streaming full time, and then it just doesn't work out. Streaming is just like the worst thing you could possibly do. You have a better chance of begging on the street and getting $10 a day than getting $10 a day on Twitch, right? Or YouTube Live or whatever, Kick, whatever, right? It's just so overly saturated, and you need to really get lucky and completely min max what you're doing to put your content out there, right? and and for me, this is just a haha, let's do this for fun thing, and if I get something from it, that'd be great, and if I don't, it's really just me doing this to say I've done it and I've tried it, and I will keep doing it, especially if it does well, right? But regardless, back to the story. Let me get sidetracked a million times while trying to do this. I'm 2 stories in and 25 minutes in, right? So, whatever. And I agree, right? Like, I feel like gaming definitely gets the short end of the stick a lot of the times, and people, um, especially people in relationships, if one spends a lot of time gaming, right? The other one's like, it's the game. The game is it's me or the game. It's me or the PS5, right? And I think if the OP gets past that, right, then it'll be viewed as just a regular hobby. Because I think this commenter is right. If this was golf, would they feel about the same? Would they feel the same way? And news to me, Destiny is shutting down, and I kind of agree, right? Like if I met a dozen or so friends playing whatever, right, whether it's Minecraft, uh, Destiny, right, or any other online game, COD, um, League, Valorant, whatever, and they're shutting down, I'd be like, well, let's do as much as we can. Let's just completely play the heck out of this game as almost a commemorative moment, I guess you can say. And yeah, I think that definitely plays a part of it, and compounding that with the coping mechanism of, hey, we're in a completely new area. I don't know anybody here. The only people I know are the friends that I have before that I'm playing games with now, right? I think that and those two things are just kind of tunneling the boyfriend in this just down a quite, I think, unhealthy spiral of let me just play games all day. And they know they can still fall back on their significant other, which I think in this case is a bad habit because the significant other in OP is, hey, what about me, right? And I think that can lead into a lot more tension, right? And if OP, I'll definitely bookmark this one. So if OP does do a update, I'll try and revisit this if I remember. Um, but yeah, I think there's definitely this can definitely be fixed, and I think if I was him, if my significant other was like, what if what if I played games too? I'd be like, are you kidding me? Absolutely, absolutely right. So I he's kind of fumbling right now. He's kind of fumbling, and this is 100% fixable. 100%. Just open up that communication. And if he's not willing, and you really try everything, right? And you're like, I've tried every trick in the bag. I've talked about it. I know there's an issue. He has an issue. It's like maybe the option is just to break up, and that's fine. They are 24 and 23. That's not old, right? I wouldn't consider that old. Oh, you're unk. You're unk. You're almost 25. You're unk. No, they still have plenty of life to meet new people, right? And find somebody that matches them both a lot better. So, next story. Next story. I have a whole bunch of stories saved, but we'll go with this one. This one's from AITAH, or Am I the Asshole? This is a pretty short one, but I'm trying to keep this around 30-ish minutes. And with all the pauses I've been taking in between each word I take for God knows why, um, this short story is going to be another almost 10 minutes. So getting right into this. Am I the asshole for complaining about my body when my friend is bigger? I feel like this to me speaks volumes. This speaks volumes to me. I was scrolling through and I was like, wait, I'm the friend in this. Except not really. I There's been a lot of times where my friends are like, you're fat, you're fat, or like I'm fat and they're actually skinny, right? And I'm like, if they think they're fat, what do they think about me? Um, and I'm just like, hold on, I gotta lock in. I really gotta lock in. And then I was like, I'm going to the gym. So, and that works for a lot of people. I think I think that works for a lot of people, and some people that doesn't work. And it's just whatever, right? It's finding that balance. So, am I the asshole for complaining about my body when my friend's bigger? So I feel bad. I didn't mean to hurt my 33F friends 31F feelings. Wow. I hate when people do this. My, and then they say them. Say it. So you should, dear Reddit, dear Redditors, please put it on the first. Oh gosh, I'm not an English major. On the first noun, so you say I at the very. You say I feel bad, comma. That's your first three set of words. Put the in parentheses your age and gender if you're going to do that in the story. There, right? And then friends would be after that. Remember when I was like, this story's going to take me 10 minutes, so let me actually kind of quickly go through this. I feel bad. I didn't mean to hurt my friend's feelings or make them feel any kind of way. So, but I did, so it doesn't matter. I know she has issues with her body, especially regarding her weight. The weather has been getting warmer, so we're all putting on more revealing clothes slash not cooped up in the winter gear. Cooped up in winter gear where I am. We went out for lunch during her break, and I was wearing shorts and a tank top for the first time since last year. I mentioned that I felt insecure because my body is exposed, and I still not used to my flab poking out over my shorts and my thighs. I later. Okay. OP can't write. Later, she told me she was not mad. She was mad that I complained about my body when she's much bigger than I am. I apologized and told her that I thought her body was beautiful. I meant it in parentheses. And that I feel like everyone feels bad in their body sometimes because of social conditioning. True. She still said it was insensitive to complain about my belly and thighs when I know how she feels about hers. I won't mention anything negative about my body ever again to her, but I wish I could since I really feel this way about mine too. Anyways, I feel really bad and I have issues with understanding social rules. And I'm wondering if this is something I should have already been privy to, such was being a jerk where most people would have known better. I don't want to sound, don't cancel me. I don't want to sound sexist because I'm not a woman, so I really don't know the ins and outs of like how they treat it. But from my experience and having a, a handful of friends that are women, they are very tiptoey around that subject, and I know biologically it's so much harder for them to lose weight because they can't. It has to be a very slow thing, right? Because they have extra organs that are very important in general, um, and their body structure is way different, and they're also a lot shorter, and their metabolism works different. So just scientifically, it's so much harder for a woman to lose weight, but that doesn't mean it's impossible, right? It's just so much like a guy like me can just go on a 1,000 calorie deficit and be miserable for a month and lose 3 pounds a week. Probably not. Don't probably not medically um safe, but technically they could do that. Um, but if a woman were to do that, they would probably like cease to exist, right? And it's a process. They can still lose, but that doesn't mean that they can't. And when my friends are like, you're fat," I'm like, "Dang, you're kind of right," and I'm on a crazy cut. But if you were to say that to a woman, obviously you don't say that. So don't say that. Don't do that. So just based off that, I think this friend, if OP is definitely not invalid for their feelings, right? Um, I think it's totally fine to feel insecure about the way you look. I feel it all the time. I'm like, holy cow, I'm still fat. Um, and they nailed it right on the head. The social conditioning and all the noise that goes on in today's society of you have to look like this, you must look like this, and if you're not like this, you're chopped, right? And I think that's getting to the friends' mind a little bit as well. And no, NTH, not the asshole. Top comment. It's not a competition. Oh, this is 2 days ago, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. So pretty high turnaround, I feel like. Not a competition. 422 upvotes. I understand your friend's frustration, but people of all shapes and sizes deal with body insecurity. She's larger, but that doesn't invalidate your own insecurities. 295 upvotes. I think they nailed it, right? I think they really reeled it in there. I don't think you were an asshole. You made a comment that wasn't tasteful, but you immediately took accountability and apologized. It wasn't a nice thing to do, but it isn't like asshole-ish. I don't entirely agree with this. NTH, but read the room. It was insensitive, but I don't know if you're an outright asshole. Maybe I'm a bad person. Maybe reading some of these comments, um, maybe I'm a bad person. I don't think they are the asshole, and I do think the read the room slightly, right? If you know they are insecure about their body, maybe tiptoe around just a little bit, right? But that doesn't mean you can't talk about it. And I think when they're saying, "Hey, OP, you can't say that around me because you know I'm bigger." I think then that's the main problem I'm really at, where it's that's almost controlling, right? And you shouldn't feel bad for how you feel about your own body. That's just life, right? But whatever. I think several people agree with me. Thank God I'm in the zeitgeist of and the echo chamber of you're right. So whatever, right? Holy. But I think I made decent progress as well. New world, fresh start, got some stuff. This is a voiceover after, but I am watching myself play, and I'm it's pretty rough. So I think when I get better at this, I'm gonna do it them at the same time, and when I do them at the same time, it'll be very easier to a whole lot easier to just commentate on what I'm doing in game, right? So that's that. I spent a lot of time looking for where I was initially because I got a little lost. Um, kind of exploring, but I do think this is a nice world. I think I can do a lot with it if I have the motivation to do so. Um, but yeah, that might be a wrap for this video and today. But I do have about 15 seconds more runtime. So if you like it, let me know. If you don't, let me know. And if it doesn't do well, that's just kind of whatever. I'll probably still keep doing it.